week 7 of the Met Opera Global Summer Camp. Can you believe that we have been camping together since the middle of June, and now it's almost the end of July? Where has the time gone? I don't know, but what I do know is that we have loved spending this summer with you. I'm Susan Blackwell, and I am one of your Met Opera camp counselors, and I'm excited to tell you that this week's opera is La Fille du Régiment. Are you a fan of comedy? Romance? Do you love high notes that will knock your socks off? Then this is the opera for you. In fact, this performance that you'll see this week was one of the first times that a singer ever sang an encore during a live in HD broadcast. And you can watch this opera this Wednesday through Friday at the link provided in the Google Classroom. And here is what is happening this week. Today, it's Get to Know the Opera with some amazing people. Camp Counselor Beth will introduce you to Marie, the daughter of the regiment, which is what that opera's title means in French. La Fille du Régiment equals the daughter of the regiment. Tomorrow, Tuesday, we're going to be working with Broadway songster Joel Wagoner. Fancy that. A Broadway person at an opera camp. On Wednesday, the Met's executive stage director, Paula Swazi, will be hosting an artist chat with Pretty Yende, the high-flying soprano who sings the role of Marie in this week's performance. On Thursday, we've got opera story time with the riveting soprano Eileen Perez, and I'll be in the career corner with Nancy Novograd, who, get this, trains all the live animals that perform on the Met stage. Oh, I hope that you will please send us your video questions for Pretty Yende, Eileen Perez, and Nancy Novograd via the Jot form link in the Google Classroom. We all want to hear from you. We love those video questions. Also, on Wednesday and Thursday, it's check-ins on Zoom with your camp counselors. Friday, it's Camper Showcase, hosted by your friends Dan Marshall and Camp Counselor Tim, where we get to see all the things that you've been making all week long. On the Google Classroom, you can also find your creative challenge with Ms. Bryan, musical moments and warm-ups with Ms. Berglund. And remember, almost all camp activities are live. Know that we want to hear from you. We want to know what questions you have. We want to see your video questions, and we all want to learn from each other. And now, since she's joining us from Texas, let's say a big howdy to Camp Counselor Beth.
Hi, everybody. Howdy. So send us right now a shout out from where you are coming from today. I'm so excited to be in your living room around the world. So I am Beth Coquette Drews, and I teach in Dallas, Texas, where I teach mariachi and rock band. In addition to that, I also lead our team opera for our middle school. So I'm so excited to be here today with you all around the world. Hi, Daphne. Good to see you into the room today. Who else do we have coming in today? Hi from Germany, from Josephine. Hi, Josephine. So glad to have you here. And from Utah, we have Saskia. Good to see you. Wow, Germany and Utah. Hi, everybody. Hi, Marius. Glad to have you here. From Monterrey, Mexico, we have Sam. Hi, Sam. And coming in from California is Emily. Hello, Emily. And Ashley from Ireland. Good to see you. And from Baltimore is Rosalie. Hi, Rosalie. Glad to be here. So, and Carrot from Estonia and Emmanuel from Romania. Hello, everybody. Well, let's dive in and start with some of our favorites mentee questions. So if you will join us on the mentee, our code today is, it's a little too small for me to read, but hopefully you can read it. Oh, there it is, 494866. So once again, it's 494866. So the first question is, have you ever had to make a difficult decision? So there are lots of decisions you have to make. What time do you get up? What are you going to eat today? What clothes are you going to put on? Who are you going to go see or not see, as in the case for the quarantine? So some of those decisions are easy to make. Well, I think I'm going to get up today at 8 o'clock, so I'll be ready for opera camp. But other decisions are more difficult to make, like the ever difficult decision, what am I going to have for dinner tonight? It's a tough decision to make. And some decisions are not as superficial as those. Some decisions are very hard. Like, my friend is going to do that. I don't think it's a good idea. Should I tell a grown-up? Those are difficult decisions to make, but I hope you would tell a grown-up if your friend is doing something that's not such a good idea. As we check in with our Mentimeter, we see that the vast majority of you have had to make some difficult decisions in your life. And I think, well, as it seems, most of us have had to make some hard decisions. Our characters in our opera today are going to have to make some difficult decisions about whether they stay in one place or go to another place, about how can they love, who do they love, and can they get married? Those are all very difficult decisions to make. Let's look at our next slide, or our next Mentimeter. Oh, I changed the Mentimeters. I apologize for that. Our next Mentimeter is, have you ever had to do something you didn't want to do to make someone happy? Have you ever had to do something you didn't want to do to make someone happy? Yes, an example I have is that my mother and my husband love to watch cooking shows, and I can't stand them. I do not like cooking shows. However, it would make them very happy to watch a cooking show, and so I let them watch the cooking show because I love them so much. So, as we can see here, it looks like most of you have had to do something you didn't want to do to make someone happy. As we see the donut fill in, almost all of you have had to do something you didn't want to do to make someone happy. Maybe you had to do a chore like wash the dishes to make your mom happy. That might be a real situation too. Study for a test. Yes, sometimes you just have to do that. Let's see the next one. Have you ever had to give something up for someone you love? Maybe you had to give up something that was special to you, or a snack, or a treat, or a special activity. Sometimes those are easy things, and sometimes it's very difficult to give up something for someone you love. The other day, there was one chocolate chip cookie left, and it looked so delicious, and I really wanted something sweet. And my husband also wanted that chocolate chip cookie, and I gave up the chocolate chip cookie for him because I knew that he had been working hard that day and just really would like to have a treat. And so I said that he could have the cookie because I love him so much. As we see with our responses, that there are people who've had to give up treats or a special toy that they may have had, or stuffed animal that gives them comfort, maybe to comfort someone else. But also maybe had to give up some activities. And I think right now a lot of us are giving up special events and activities in order to keep everybody safe, to keep our families safe, and someone to love. And those are people that we love, and so we've had to give up activities. So I agree with that. It's something you had to give up, and often it's not easy to do that. The example of the cookie is a very easy decision to make, but the example of keeping everybody health safe is a harder decision to make. Or is it an easy decision to make? That poses some questions there. Well, in the opera, Tonio has a really hard decision to make. He loves Marie very, very much, but Marie can only marry somebody from the regiment. But Tonio isn't from the regiment. Tonio is from Austria, which the regiment has invaded. And does Tonio give up his country, or does Tonio give up Marie? It's a very difficult decision, but he's going to have to give up something for somebody. We'll see what happens. So, Dan, let's start with our first slide. Let's introduce the characters in the opera. So first we have Marie, and for Marie, she's going to be signaled with this lovely bow that I have on. So Marie is an abandoned child who is raised by the regiment, and she is sung in soprano, which is the highest of the women's voices. So whenever you see me put on this headband, you'll know that this is Marie. I got my fabulous JoJo bow here. Our next character is Tonio. And Tonio is an Austrian from the Tyrolean region of Austria, and he is sung by a tenor, which is the highest man's voice. So I have my Austrian mountain climber hat, complete with the lantern, right here. My grandmother told me that you put a lantern on your hat, so when you go mountain climbing, you can always find your way home. So I think that's wonderful. So this is my Tyrolean mountain climbing hat that represents Tonio. Our next character is Sulpice, and Sulpice is a soldier, so that's why I have my helmet here, my soldier's helmet. Sulpice is the sergeant, so he's the leader of the regiment. A regiment is a group of soldiers, and he is sung with a bass voice, so he has a very low and deep voice. Our next character is the Marquise de Birkenfeld. She is a wealthy Tyrolean noble woman, and she is sung as a mezzo-soprano. A mezzo-soprano is a voice, a woman's voice. It's not the highest like a soprano, but it is higher than an alto or contralto. So it's a middle woman's voice. So she's got a fancy hat with flowers on it. And so those are our four main characters. Next, we have some of our supporting characters. Our first supporting character is the Duchess of Krankenthorpe. Can you say Krankenthorpe with me? Because it's just fun to say. All right, Duchess of Krankenthorpe, and she is even wealthier than the Marquise. This role is spoken, which is unusual. Usually in an opera, there are no spoken roles, they're all sung. But in this case, she has a spoken role. Because it's spoken, it's a lot of fun to get people who aren't necessarily opera singers to play that role. In fact, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was the Duchess of Krankenthorpe in a production, not the one you're going to see, but in a former production that was done because she loves opera. So wouldn't that be a thrill to play the Duchess of Krankenthorpe? I just want to let the Met know that I'm available to play the Duchess at any time. So they just give me a call and I'll be happy to do that. And I'm sure many of you would feel that way too. The next character is Hortensis, and he is the butler to the Marquise. He is not the Duchess's butler, he is the Marquise's butler. And he is sung with a bass voice, a very deep voice as well. And the final supporting character is the regiment as a character in itself. It is sung by a men's chorus, so you have tenors, baritones, and basses that are all singing the different parts in it. They are so funny. Let me tell you right now, this is a funny opera. And part of what makes it funny is not necessarily what the words are being said, but it's the acting that the actors are doing. So the regiment is key to that. They do lots of different motions in pantomime to reflect on what's happening with the different characters in the opera. Sometimes it's actually more fun to watch the regiment than the main character because of all the different things that they do in their acting skills. So let's dive into the story, shall we? Oh, before we do that, where is this opera being happening? And in this case, it's happening in a Tyrolean village of Austria. Austria is in Europe. It's not in Australia. Australia is where they have kangaroos. There are no kangaroos in Austria, except maybe the zoo. So it's in the middle of Europe. It's a landlocked country there that have lots of mountains. So maybe there's somebody who is joining us from Austria. I know we have somebody from Germany, which is just north of Austria. So very familiar with that landscape. You'll see there's lots of hills, lots of green in the valley. It's just a very beautiful place. I wish that we could all go and visit it. In the next slide, we see this is how the Met depicts the Tyrolean village. You'll notice that they use maps to make the mountains. And way up in the corner, you'll see is a little compass rose. And on a map, the compass rose shows us which direction is north. But on the set, they used the compass rose to show a sun, which I thought was pretty cool. the maps are not flat. They're on a slant or a grade. It's a graded stage, which means parts of the stage are higher than others, which can add to the comedy of the opera. What I think is great is look, the corner of the map has gone over the edge of the stage. It's like he threw a bunch of maps on the table and some of them kind of flopped over the side of the table. That's the way the stage looks. So there's a little part that extends past the normal part of the stage. So fantastic, so fantastic. So I love how they use the maps to show the terrain of Austria. So our next slide starts the actual story. So we've got our characters, we've got our setting, and now we have the story. You'll see on this slide we have a picture of Pretty Yende as in her portrayal of Marie. Pretty Yende is joining us, as you heard, on Wednesday. I'm so excited for that. It's very exciting. Please be sure to submit your video questions to on the Google Classroom so that you're able to ask her some questions. I can't wait to see the interview. So excited for that. Next slide. So it begins in the Tyrolean village, and they're all trying to get safe because they hear that the French regiment is coming. And so we have the Duchess, not the Duchess, the Marquise. I got the Marquise's hat on. And the Marquise is trying to get to her country home. And as she's trying to get to the country home, there's all these villagers running around because they're afraid of the advancing army. Now, these villagers are not army people, so you'll notice that they have pitchforks and they have carpet beaters and axes, and they have maybe a pan on their head to use as a helmet because they're not armed soldiers. And they're afraid because they're coming to take their homes, and they want to protect their homes, the people they love. And they're praying, they're saying prayers to deliver them from the advancing army. So at this time, the Duchess, not the Duchess, apologized the second time. The Marquise is afraid as well, but she's also very annoyed because everybody is in her way as she tries to get to where she's going. But to everybody's relief, the regiment stops and they set up a camp instead. So right now, as I wear my Marquise hat, I'm thinking, okay, I'm scared but annoyed by it all. I just want to get home. So next slide. So at the camp, we have Marie. So I'm going to put my Marie bow on. So Marie was found on the battlefield as a small little baby, and the regiment came in and they adopted her. So she's got like 100 fathers. If that's just, think about that for a minute. Having 100 dads telling you what to do, that's a lot, right? That's a lot. So, but she's quite happy in the regiment. She does a lot of the chores for it, and she's very, very loyal to them. But even though she's loyal to the regiment, she has started dating Tonio, who is an Austrian Tyrolean boy. So Marie's with the French regiment. Tonio's with the Tyroleans. This is not going to go so well because, you know, her dad's like, we don't hang out with those people. But she did. Notice in the background the mountains of laundry. It's great how they, even in the scenery, the prop of the laundry, also make mountains. Mountains is a big theme here. We got lots of mountains. So next slide. Tonio. So I got my Tonio hat back on. Tonio is found lurking around the camp because he's trying to find his girlfriend, Marie, an absolutely forbidden romance. It's a great part of opera. So he is accused of being a spy, and all the other soldiers are pointing a rifle at him because they think that he is spying on them. But Marie comes and says, no, that's Tonio. It's okay. He saved me from falling off a cliff. And the regimental soldiers go, well, any friend of Marie's is a friend of ours. So everything's good. And they lower their weapons, and Tonio, he can hang out. He's okay. But when I think about Tonio's character right here, he's got so many emotions happening. One of them is like, well, I'm coming to see my girlfriend. but all her fathers are going to be there. I got to sneak around. So he's got that emotion. He's afraid. I mean, they're pointing a gun at him. Of course, that's fearful. It's really afraid. But he's in love. So he's happy that he's going to go see his girl. Lots of emotions going on here for Tonio in this scene. Alert, alert, it's joke o'clock. All right, let's see what we got for joke o'clock today. From Gavin in Florida, he says, what do you call a happy spider? I don't know, Gavin. A merry widow. Oh, that's so funny. It's from our presentation last week was the merry widow. Oh, that's clever. That's clever. I like that one. So, all right, next slide. Later that evening, when Marie is peeling potatoes, Tonio comes to visit her, and he declares his love for Marie. So far, that's good, but Sulpice comes. Sulpice is not happy because here's this boy who's kissing on my daughter. Maybe some of our campers have had that experience. I'm not sure. But anyways, father is not happy whatsoever. In fact, he's furious. And he reminds Marie that she has promised to marry a member of the regiment, which Tonio is not. And he chases Tonio away. And they're sad. Now you'll notice here that we've got potatoes. I love this part of the opera because there's potatoes. Now, who doesn't love potatoes? Most people love potatoes. Maybe there's one or two who don't, but I'd have to say potatoes are great. Now, she's peeling the potatoes with a gigantic knife, which is done on purpose because of the comedy of it. It's funny that she has this giant knife when you usually would peel a potato with a little tiny knife, safety first. But she's got this one, and she's making like all these potatoes for the father. And I'm thinking, what is she making with those potatoes? And so I thought I'd ask you guys a question on our Mentimeter. How do you like your potatoes? So can't wait to hear what you have to say about your potatoes. I personally love gravy fries. I like my potatoes French fried with gravies on the top of it. In the East Coast, you might call them disco fries. Some of you in Canada might eat them in a dish called poutine. I've seen them down in Cajun country, down in Louisiana. They put this gravy on their fries down there too. So there are some ideas for potatoes as well. Another great way to have potatoes is that I like is chopped up inside of something called a pasty. If you're joining us from England, especially the Cornwall region of England, you'll know they eat pasties there, but pasties are potatoes and beef wrapped up in a crust. So delicious, so delicious. I see that some of our popular answers we have are mashed potatoes and French fried potatoes and boiled potatoes, chips. Yeah, can't leave out chips. Chips, so many types of chips. Potato chips are just a fantastic invention with it. I did see somebody like raw potatoes. I suppose if you like to eat them that way, that's fantastic with it. So this week, one of our activities is to share with us your favorite potato recipe and to make it and show us a picture of your food. So those of you social media posters who love to post pictures of food, this is for you. So share with us your great potato recipes. So as you're watching the opera, you can also think about what kind of potatoes is Marie making for the regiment. And maybe it's Greek styled or mashed or French fries. Oh, somebody's eating Pringles right now. Tall Nev is eating Pringles. Oh, how perfect for this talk about potatoes. Fantastic. So let's go to our next slide, Dan. Potato is making kind of hungry. It's lunchtime. All right. The Marquise arrives at the camp and she sees Sulpice. And she asks Sulpice to escort her to her estate. Now here's where I need to put my Sulpice hat back on. Because Sulpice recognizes the name Birkenfield, which is the Marquise's last name. And he recognizes it because on the letter found with Marie as a baby was the name Birkenfield. And in conversation, they find out that the Marquise is Marie's aunt, and she wants to take Marie to her country estate. Now, I wear my Sulpice hat because I'm kind of thinking about Sulpice here. I mean, yes, it's the easy thing to recognize is the Marquise is happy to have found Marie. But what about Sulpice? Sulpice found this little baby and adopted her and raised her. And now the Marquise is saying that she wants Marie to go with her. So I always think about how heartbreaking it must be for Sulpice to have to make this decision of whether Marie should stay with the regiment or go with the Marquise. So next slide, please. Tonio enters, and he has joined the French regiment. So even though he's our Austrian, he has gone to join the French regiment because as a member of the regiment, he can marry Marie. It's not forbidden anymore. It's okay because he's a member of the regiment. So everybody seems like it's going to work out, right? But Marie tells Tonio, hey, I got to go with the Marquise. She's apparently my aunt, and she thinks I should go with her to her estate. And they are both heartbroken on the situation, which, it's tough. What's going to happen there? In this scene, when he joins the regiment, which you see a picture of right here, he sings this fantastic song called A Mes Amis. And so we're going to bring that up. We have a little video clip of A Mes Amis being sung by our friend Javier Camarena, who visited us earlier during camp when we watched Don Pasquale. So if we can bring up the video of A Mes Amis. Bravo! It's so amazing. This aria is a very difficult aria for Terence to sing. It has 9 high C's in it, 9 of them. And Javier gets every single one of them. He just nails it. It's amazing. So I look forward to this part of the opera every time. It's such a happy song to hear. One of the things that this particular video is really focused on Javier playing the character of Tonio. But the interesting part is also the regiment. when he sings this, watch for it in the opera. The regiment, they're so funny. They're so funny. They kind of dance along with it while he's singing the song, and they're funny. I just gonna leave it there. So, Amazing Me's, terrific song. So just to recap where we were, so we're at the end of Act 1, had our lovers are split up. Marie has gone with the Marquise to her country estate. Meanwhile, Tonio is with the regiment in Sulpice, being left behind. So let's see what happens in Act 2. Next slide. So the Marquise is talking with her friend, the Duchess of Cronkenthorpe. So I'm going to put my Marquise hat back on here because I'm looking at from the Marquise's point of view. Now, the problem is that the Marquise is not her aunt, but spoiler alert, it's her mother. The Marquise is actually Marie's mother. And because Marie was born before the Marquise was married, she cannot inherit all the Marquise's money. So, being the good mother she thinks she is, I'll let that sit with you a moment because she abandoned her baby, but in the battlefield, but she's like, okay, I need to find more money for my daughter because people like money. I want my daughter to have a lot of it. So she contacts her friend, the Duchess of Cronkenthorpe, and the Duchess has a nephew, and they said, well, Marie can marry my nephew, and then she'll have lots of money, and everything's good, right? Well, the problem is that Marie doesn't love the nephew. Who does Marie love? Tonio. So right now, from the Duchess's point of view, though, from the Marquise's point of view, this is a good idea, right? This solves all the problems in the mind of the Marquise, but does it? Next slide, please. So Marie comes into the parlor after the Duchess leaves, and the Marquise is trying to make Marie more ladylike. She gives her new clothes because her other ones were dirty, kind of gives her a little bit of a makeover, and is giving her singing lessons of very ladylike songs in the opinion of the Marquise. Well, in comes Sulpice, and when he comes to visit, he's seen Marie. Right, got my Sulpice hat on, and Marie is trying to sing this song and trying to concentrate on her lesson, and Sulpice is singing the songs of the regiment, which are very loud and very rowdy, and he's getting Marie in trouble with the Marquise, in fact. So whenever Marie is singing the Marquise's song, she's kind of bored. But when she's singing the songs of Sulpice, she's very, very happy and very, very joyous, and she's marching around and having a great time. This frustrates the Marquise, who leaves. But from the point of view of Sulpice, he's very happy. He has Marie. He sees Marie happy singing the songs that he also enjoys. Next slide. Well, Marie is left alone briefly, but then comes all of her fathers from the regiment. They've come to visit her, and of course, Tonio is there as well. And I love this picture. Look at the joy on Marie's face. She is so happy to see everyone, and they're all happy to see her. So the next slide. And this is a great song that is sung by Sulpice and Marie and Tonio, called The Three Reunited. So let's take a look at this video of all three reunited.
Quel plaisir, quel bonheur, quel bonheur, quel plaisir, quel plaisir, quel bonheur, quel bonheur, nous voilà réunis, quel plaisir, nous voilà réunis, nous voilà réunis, nous voilà réunis, quel bonheur, nous voilà réunis.
Bravo! I love ensemble pieces. In music, an ensemble is a group of musicians working together to make a piece of music. In this case, the clip you saw was an ensemble number because you had all three characters singing together at the same time. So just a great time. You can see how happy they are together, how playful they are. It's just a really good feeling song, and it's just so happy sounding. I love the music in this opera because it just makes you feel good to hear it. So our next slide, Dan. Well, the guests are all at the wedding. Unfortunately, Marie's going to have to marry the Duke, the Duchess's nephew. And we have Marquise. And the Marquise is looking at this whole situation, right? She came to see Marie's wedding. So as I have my hat for the Marquise again. And the Marquise is looking at this whole situation, and Marie is just heartbroken. She's sad. She doesn't want to marry the Duke. Her heart belongs to Tonio. And Tonio loves her. And the Marquise is looking at this situation like this is not turning out well. It is more important for my daughter to be happy than to be wealthy. And so from the Marquise's point of view, she realizes that Marie should marry Tonio and not the Duke. And so the wedding changes. Well, actually not the wedding. The groom changes. Out goes the nephew and in comes Tonio. And they get married and live happily ever after. Yay! Happy ending. Happy endings don't always happen in opera, but in this case they do. It's a great happy ending because Marie and Tonio get married, and we believe to live happily ever after. You'll notice that Tonio comes in on a tank to go rescue Marie. He's so in love with Marie, he drives a tank right into the house. I don't know how the Marquise feels about that part of it, but I'm sure it made a statement nonetheless. So I love the tank too, Alonzo. It's great. It's great. Let's go to the next slide, please. So you'll notice in the opera that there's lots of different feelings. They're happy, they're sad, they're excited, they're afraid in the opera. And as you think about how the characters feel in the opera, is very important. But to remove any doubts, in opera, a character sings an aria and just tells you how they feel, right? And this week, you are going to write your own aria. I'm so excited for you guys to pretend that you are one of the singers and to write an aria. You will be Donizetti today. So let's go to the next slide. You will see this worksheet in your Google Classroom under the part that says write your own aria. And first you have to decide who are you going to be. Are you going to be Marie, Tonio, Sulpice, and the Marquise? So that is why throughout the aria, throughout the song, let me start again. Throughout the description of the opera, I've put on different hats. And the different hats represented the different characters in the opera from their point of view. So we have one more mentee, and in this mentee, from what perspective do you plan to write your aria? So go ahead and make your vote now. Are you going to choose to write from Marie's perspective of it? Now, Marie goes through lots of emotions. She's happy, she's afraid, she's heartbroken, she's excited. Tonio has lots of things too that he goes through with excitement and afraid and happy. The Marquise, don't forget about Sulpice. Sulpice has lots of moments as well. I mean, being the father, sometimes he's joyful and sometimes he's heartbroken to leave Marie go, to go to be with the Marquise. So there's lots of feelings there as well. So as we have people registering their votes, we see that lots of folks are going to write from a perspective of Marie, but we have not forgotten our other characters, as they too have lots of wonderful opportunities for arias with it. Now, the good news is this: even though you're writing your own aria, you don't have to write your own accompaniment. Tomorrow, you'll be meeting with Camp Counselor Joel, and he will be talking about music composition. And he has composed some music for you to use for your aria. You're in charge of writing the words. to the aria and coming up with the melody. I can't wait to see the performances you come up with. Dan, can we go to the next slide, please? Also on the worksheet, you will choose your emotion, because as Joel will talk with you, it'll decide on what type of music you'll use. But in writing your lyrics, an aria is often set up with an A, B, A format. A's are the same music, the same words, and the B section is different. Now, I don't want to talk too much more about that because Camp Counselor Joel has lots prepared to talk about A and B sections. But if you want to get started on your words, know that the A sections will be the same and the B section will be different. As a challenge, can you make your words rhyme? A great place to rhyme would be lines 2 and 4 and lines 6 and 8. I can't wait to see what you all come up with. Next slide, please. Also in Google Classroom this week, we have lots of fun activities for you. You can have your own La Fille Regiment podcast or talk show during this time. Have somebody pose questions to you and pretend you're one of the characters. Perhaps you want to wear a hat to show which character you are. In fact, you can make your own hat when you talk about milliners and hatters. A milliner makes ladies' hats and a hatter makes gentlemen's hats. Perhaps you want to first be a milliner or a hatter and then become one of the characters on your own talk show. We also have Marie's makeover. If you had to give Marie new clothes or hairstyle, what would it look like? You may draw these out. And her makeover doesn't have to be from old-fashioned times. You can make her have a 2020 makeover. Alert, it's joke o'clock. All right, Dan. Camp Counselor Dan, what do we have for joke o'clock? This is from Dr. and Kamala at the Met Opera. The question, what has 200 feet and sings? Huh. That's a lot of feet. I don't know. What has 200 feet and sings? The Met Opera Chorus. Well, of course they do. That's a lot of feet. So funny. So funny. All right. Our next thing will be lederhosen and dance. I actually have some lederhosen here that I'm holding up. In the opera, Tonio wears lederhosen. Get used to the camera. There we go. Tonio wears lederhosen. Lederhosen is a traditional dress that does come from Austria. In this case, this is for gentlemen to wear or boys. And they're made out of leather. And when you slap them, when you're wearing them, they make a very distinctive sound. In fact, there's a dance called the Schulpater where they slap the lederhosen to make a great rhythmic sound. And I have put that up as an activity that you can learn to dance as well. So when you're making these dances, we're thinking of Tonio, because Tonio is Austrian. And at the beginning, he is wearing, indeed, lederhosen. A very characteristic thing of lederhosen is that it has this part that goes across the front. So when you wear it, it looks like kind of like a letter H. It comes in handy because oftentimes they have a secret pocket. You can see there's a zipper here where you can put something special, maybe a note or a love note from Marie is maybe what Tonio has in his. Or maybe you have a couple coins in there because you're going to the store. So this is lederhosen. You can learn more about lederhosen this week as you read the activity in the Google Classroom. Also, so excited for this. We have potatoes. That's right, the potatoes are back. Share with us your favorite potato recipe. Take a picture of your potato food. Tell us all about potatoes. Cook us some potatoes. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Maybe it's a recipe you know, or maybe you're a chef and create a new potato recipe. Tell us in the Google Classroom. I also put in there a word search for you on the Fille Régiment because, well, who doesn't like a good word search? There are lots of fun, and this one can be done completely online where it will highlight for you. Also, you can become a cartographer. A cartographer is a person who makes maps. In the cartographer section, you will make a map to help Marie find Tonio. Be creative, be detailed. Let us know where you find her. And also, you can design your own medal for the regiment for finding Marie and taking care of her. The medal, you can draw it out and design it, or you can make an actual prop. Your choice. But tell us what it means. Tell us its shape. Tell us what colors you chose and why. So I can't wait to see what you come up with. And I can't wait to hear about all your potato ideas. Look at the badge up the corner. Maybe it's like a little potato up there in the corner. Such good ideas can come out of it all. So before we sign off, I believe Camp Counselor Dan has a few announcements for you.
Oh my goodness. Camp Counselor Beth, all the way in Texas of the United States, the Lone Star Republic, as we like to call it. How are you? Howdy.
Howdy.
I should have gotten a hat to wear because you wear a lot of hats, both in this lesson and in life. Beth, you are one of my favorite teachers of all time, and here you are. I'm sorry that we can't be together, but I'm glad that I got to see this amazing lesson on one of my all-time favorite operas, La Fille du Régiment. I just like saying it because I feel very fancy. Even though it just means the daughter of the regiment, I like saying La Fille du Régiment.
It does sound fancy. I agree.
Like I'm ordering in a very fancy restaurant. Hi, everybody. I wanted to review the rest of the activities for the week. Of course, you know, you can view the Met's production of La Fille du Régiment starting this Wednesday, July 29th at 5 p.m. That's Eastern US time, New York City time, until Friday, July 31st at 5 p.m. New York City time. And that's all online at metopera.org/global summer camp. There it is, scrolling across right now as I say this. So don't miss this. It stars Pretty Yende and Javier Camarena. We met Javier. Beth said that. It's true. We met him for Don Pasquale. He's such a big star, and Pretty Yende is going to come by and join our Q&A this week. So let's go through all of our lessons together. Tomorrow, Joel Wagner, who is a Broadway performer and songwriter, is going to join us at 12 noon New York City time and teach some songwriting, some aria writing. Joel is a hoot, as they say in the United States. He's hilarious and funny and very, very talented. He's like you, Beth. He plays about a dozen different instruments, and I bet he is going to play at least one tomorrow, maybe a few. So don't miss that tomorrow at 12 noon New York City time. And then on Wednesday, we do have our artist Q&A with Camp Counselor Paula Swazi, the Met's executive stage director, and the star of La Fille du Régiment, the titular star, the title star, Pretty Yende, who plays Marie. Make sure you submit your video questions. We love those video questions. It's just a way for us to feel more connected to all of you. But if you don't have a video capability, you can write your question in, and we'll try our best to get to all of the questions that are submitted. Okay, that's Wednesday, Paula and Pretty. And then on Thursday at noon, we are going to have opera story time with one of my favorite Metropolitan Opera stars, Eileen Perez. Eileen is a perennial star. That means she's on the Met Opera stage almost every season that I've ever witnessed. She is friendly and lovely and so kind, and she's going to share stories with us. Now, I know that these are geared toward the younger students in the camp, but as you all know, we might have time for a few questions with Eileen, and I'm sure she's ready to answer them for you. That's a good chance for you to ask her what it's like to be a Metropolitan Opera star and how she got there. Okay, then I can't wait for this one. Thursday is going to be so fun, but every day of camp is so fun. Yeah. We have Susan Blackwell, Camp Counselor Susan, and Met Opera animal trainer Nancy Novograd in the Career Corner together. And I hope you'll all consider submitting questions with your pets or your stuffed animals or your fuzzy friends or feathered friends or lizard friends or whatever you want, whatever you have. And then on Friday, of course, you remember it's the Camper Showcase hosted by Timmy B, Bat Tim, Camp Counselor Tim Brendler, and of course Beth will be there and Joel, and I'll be in the background, but maybe I'll make a guest appearance. Who can say? Who knows who will stop by at Camper Showcase every week? Last week we had 6 different camp counselors there. It was a real party, wasn't it? Oh, friends, Beth, you are sublime. You are the best. We had such a great time today. Everybody, I love, love, love camp. I can't believe it's week 7. We just keep having more and more fun. When will it stop? I'm going to leave and go eat some potatoes. But before I do that, Beth, I thought maybe we should favor everyone with another round of A Mes Amis with Javier Camarena singing. What do you think?
I definitely think we should do that. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. Before I do, just a reminder, if you can't find the Google Classroom codes, you can always email me and Dr. Kamala at summercamp@medopera.org. In fact, any questions at all, just email us. We'll get back to you as soon as we possibly can. Oh, and since you're older campers, and I know a lot of you are on Instagram, don't forget to tag us with your exciting creations this week. Show us your potato salad at Met Opera Student, #MetOperaCamp. We can't wait to hear from you. All right, everybody, what do you think? Should we give Javier one more try?
Sounds great. It's been my pleasure being with you today.
Beth, you are a star, and we'll see you later this week.
Definitely.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Me voici, Unitaire Marie, me voici, Unitaire Marie.